Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News. It is November 23rd, 2018, the day after Thanksgiving. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope each and every one of you had a very nice holiday. And what I'd like to talk to all of you about today is exactly what you see up on your screen right now. And this is in reference to counterintelligence and tactics. Now, we're going to be talking about Planet X, but we're also going to be talking about these counterintelligence and their tactics. Excuse me. Let me get the live chat set up so I can see everybody that's in there. Okay. Folks, let me give you a little bit of background real quick. I'm going to show all of you some information that maybe in the very beginning you won't believe me, but all of the information is now readily available thanks to a Mr. Edward Snowden. Edward Snowden was the NSA agent who went rogue and revealed a lot of inside information pertaining to the U.S. government and other governments, such as the British government. Well, ladies and gentlemen, once again, I had an occurrence just the other day, something in my personal life that was done to me again. And, I don't want to reveal all of that right now, but once again, there are these so-called operatives. I call them troll babies, but in reality, folks, there's a lot more behind online trolling on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Let me give you some background on this. The two organizations that you see their initials on the bottom of the screen, JTRIG, and they refer to it as JTRIG, and GCHQ. Now, folks, these are real government agencies. They are situated over in the UK. However, the United States government and the Australian government, New Zealand, Israel, and Germany and France and Canada are all affiliated with JTRIG and GCHQ. Now, at any point in time, folks, you can break away from this live stream and you can go to Google and you can type in these initials and you could start doing your own research. Okay? But let me give you a little bit of background on these two organizations. They're really not spies as in what you would see in the movies. These are communication specialists that kind of try to stop the flow of information based on a certain subject matter. Now, JTRIG and GCHQ really came up in the ranks right after 9/11. Right after the destruction of those buildings and the murdering of all of those innocent people, there were folks that came out and they started to look into what happened. What happened with this 9/11 event? They wanted the truth. And you had some very, very smart and intelligent people that started to look into 9/11. And the conspiracies were flowing across the world. Immediately, the military organizations of JTRIG and GC went into full blast to try and discredit everything that was coming out pertaining to 9/11. This went on for years. Now, there were 3 college students that did a documentary on 9/11. And they did a very, 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 very good documentary based on solid evidence that 9/11 didn't happen the way that it was portrayed in the news and on television. Right after their documentary aired, and they posted it on a self-made website, and immediately they were being threatened, and they were actually approached and threatened. Okay, now these were operatives coming from these 2 organizations. And these young college students, they did actually fear for their lives. They were actually threatened. They were actually threatened to be kicked out of school, kicked out of college, if they furthered their investigations into the conspiracy of 9/11. But then they decided to take another step, and they furthered their documentary, and they did another one. And, let's just say things didn't turn out too well for any of them. But let's get into this Planet X and counterintelligence and tactics. Folks, I'm sure by now, if you've been following me for quite some time, you read some of the comments in the comment sections under my videos and Dr. Albers' videos. And you see some crackpots in there just making complete asinine comments. Well, that goes with the territory. But folks, sometimes these things get taken a few steps further. Okay? Where these organizations really, really want to intimidate you, and they want to stop you. So, if you are a YouTube channel and you are doing videos about the mythical planet Nibiru, or you are doing videos about Planet X, or, NASA, or the European Space Agency, any type of conspiracy, and if you have credible information, you will get trolled. You will get harassed. That is a fact. Now, they won't go as far as contacting YouTube and having your channel shut down, or contacting Facebook and having your Facebook page taken down. Why? Because then they won't have any way of keeping track of you. These are very, very sophisticated organizations, and they have been around for a very, very long time, especially the GCHQ. Okay, now the information is no longer hidden from the general public. Okay, it is all out there. And, in relation to what has happened to me a few days ago, once again, brings all of this to light. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that want to do this kind of research. They want to bring all of this out into, out in front of the world population. Slowly but surely, it's coming out. But one thing you have to realize, folks, not all of these YouTube channels are showing you credible information. And if you look at their YouTube views, their YouTube views are skyrocketing. The reason why is because their information is complete nonsense. it's garbage. There's nothing there to see. So therefore, these trolling operations such as JTRIG and GC, they won't bother with you. They may keep an eye on you, but they won't bother you. These organizations exist here in the United States, Canada, the UK, Germany, New Zealand, Australia, and Israel. And these are professional disinformation agents. They are highly trained. I refer to them as troll babies because I think they're complete idiots. But in all actuality, folks, they are very, very highly trained individuals. The majority of them are quite intelligent. And they do have a handbook. And they are professionally trained. In 2016, I got my hands on that so-called JTRIG handbook. I got it in a PDF file from a gentleman in Canada who actually worked for the JTRIG organization. And then he got out, and they threatened his life to the point where he had to disappear, and he did just that. He ended up doing a television, a news interview, and also an interview with a reporter, but under the veil of secrecy, hiding his identity. And then all of this information came out. He had saw my YouTube channel back in 2016, and he reached out to me, sent me a few emails, and we went back and forth. I didn't believe anything that he was telling me until he gave me some credible references to look into, and then he forwarded me that handbook. And it was, it was a long, long, long PDF file. And I exposed it. And right after I exposed that, I started getting trolled heavily. But then, a few weeks later, I was contacted by a New York Times investigative reporter. She still works for the New York Times. And she was revealing some information pertaining to my subject matter of Planet X, as we call it. She was tipped off on some of the information that NASA was hiding on the Stereo Core 2 coronagraph. And she was tipped off by someone from, or somebody that was involved in the Israeli intelligence. And she started looking into it. And she started producing some videos. And she was posting this information online, and it was absolutely incredible. And I have showed it many, many times before. And it literally shows one of these stellar cores. You could call it a planet, call it Planet X, call it whatever you want. But it was making a very, very, very fast orbit around the sun. And I've shown the video many, many times. She got in touch with me, and she started forwarding me links to get this information and get this video. And she was giving me dates where I can go back to the Stereo Core 2 and the stereo ahead and stereo behind, where this footage was available in the archives. And sure enough, it was there. And not too long after I revealed all of that, wow, the professionals came after me. They came after me like you wouldn't believe. And they used one of the first tactics, folks. And they tried to tell me that people were committing suicide because of this mythical planet Nibiru, Planet X, and that I would be responsible personally if anybody else took their lives because of these types of doomsday conspiracies. Well, folks, not one time in the whole history of my channel have I ever said that all of us were going to die, that this is a doomsday, that this is apocalypse. I don't even use those words, but one time in an article that I referred to from Forbes magazine, and it was about the doomsday bunkers. And, the doomsday bunkers that all these billionaires were building. Well, you wonder why all of these doomsday bunkers are being built by billionaires. It doesn't have anything to do with nuclear war. And after they trolled me very hard, and I knew that they were trying to put a psychological hold on me by referring to a situation in the UK where a young lady took her life. I believe she was a teenager, and she supposedly hung herself. And her parents said that she was doing a lot of research on her computer about the Mayan calendar and 2012. And she would sit down and she would talk to her parents about this all the time while they were having dinner. And her parents didn't think anything of it. And they didn't see any signs of her being suicidal and so on and so forth. And these professional trolls tried to lay that information out to me, and they tried to make me feel guilty. Well, later on, I found that there was no credibility in that story whatsoever. The story was from 2012. I was in 2016, so therefore I was not responsible for anyone's thoughts of committing suicide. If you are thinking of taking your own life because of what you are viewing on television, the internet, YouTube, or Facebook, you should seek psychiatric help immediately. Immediately. If you are that weak-minded, then you need to get some professional help. But ladies and gentlemen, the story was just to poke at my emotions and try to get me to just go away. Stop doing my research. Stop doing my investigations. I just recently heard on another YouTube channel the other day an individual state that he drove all the way across country to the state of California to go to two funerals because two people took their lives, committed suicide because of Nibiru, a mythical planet. Well, I call BS on that. Because if that would have actually happened, that would have made the news across this entire country. Nobody is committing suicide over mythical Nibiru or Planet X. If you are having suicidal thoughts, then you've got mental problems and you need help. But ladies and gentlemen, these so-called counterintelligence agents, they will plant very, very bad thoughts into your head. I'm going to go over the article that I just posted on the Planet X News website, and it is in a lot of detail, and it's not made up. Like I said, you can break away from this live stream at any time, and you can go to Google, and you could simply Google JTRIG or GCHQ, and you could read the information for yourself. Okay, I've had a lot of experience with these two agencies, and That's a fact. You know, whenever Dr. Albers came in touch with me, she then became a victim of these two organizations very quickly. And there are some YouTube channels that all of you follow, and I know that you do. And there is a very, very high possibility that they are feeding you disinformation and showing you things that are completely unbelievable. And you should not believe them, because the majority of what they're showing you is pretty damn fake. They make plays upon your heart by telling all of their subscribers that I love you, man. I love you. I love all of you. And then they bring the religious factor into it. For people out there that have faith in God, beliefs in Jesus Christ, they just simply play on your beliefs. Kind of like a television evangelist. Some of them are out for nothing but money. Some of them will make up complete stories. And just one of the recent ones that I've heard come out is that, this person is playing on the sympathies of his subscribers by telling all of them that he has terminal cancer. Yeah, he has terminal cancer. Raising money through PayPal because he has terminal cancer. But yet, he's on YouTube making really shabby and shady Planet X videos. And the majority of the time, he steals everybody else's video footage and photographs. You have other people that will use other types of stories to play on your sympathies. And the stories will not involve themselves, but maybe involve one of their family members. Ladies and gentlemen, when you're watching a YouTube channel and they are laying out information like that to you, they are playing on your sympathies and they are trying to gain psychological control over your emotions. Okay, let's just face it. We are not here to be friends. We are here to gain the truth. That's it. It's not like I'm going to sit down and have lunch with each and every one of you at some point in time. Even though, I am a pretty likable guy and pretty sociable, I would love the opportunity to meet real people. But in today's times, it's just too damn risky. Because you don't know who each and every one of you really are. Because right now, all that you are is an avatar on a YouTube channel, in a live chat on my YouTube channel. A lot of people wonder why I don't respond to a lot of emails. Well, folks, I've been doing this for a very, very long time. My mom was a psychologist, a professor of psychology. I've studied psychology while I was in college. And I'm no fool. I usually give people enough rope so that they can hang themselves, and I'll sit back and watch. I've done it numerous times with a lot of these troll babies. And one of their main tactics is to kind of befriend you, admire you, And then once they gain access to you and they learn as much as they can about you, then they turn the tables on you. And that's been done to me and Dr. Albers quite a few times. But getting back to Dr. Albers, whenever they realized that she had come in contact with me and we did, I think 2 live streams, all of a sudden, bingo, there you go. The certain individuals that knew who she was, they contacted the university where she was a professor and a lecturer, and they started harassing the university, they started to send really wise-ass emails to the dean of the college, trying to out her, trying to stop her, and literally trying to get her fired. And all of that worked, and it didn't take a lot of time. And then Dr. Albers started to fear for her life. Living in South Africa during these times is not the safest place on this planet. So far in 2018, I believe these crazy people down there have killed over 5,000 white farmers because they want to take their land back. The government of South Africa is completely 100% corrupt, like many governments, like all of them. I don't think there's a government on the face of this earth that isn't corrupt. And at the time, Dr. Albers had confided her reports into Mr. Chris Twatter, as we call him. And I had my doubts about Mr. Twatter. And like I said, I kept giving him enough rope so he could hang himself. And he did just that. And he proved to be just what I expected. There have been very few people that I've actually allowed in my circle. One of the only people that I really do trust out there, I do trust Wayne Steiger. I do trust Jeff P. And I've had a lot of interaction with these 2 gentlemen over the course of the last 3 years. And they've never done anything wrong to me. And we've worked on a lot of things together and shared information. So I can say that these are 2 individuals that I do trust. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and let me just approve this one message. You might see some troll babies in the live chat now, and that's okay. You could leave them in there, and you can see who these people are. But I just want to give all of you some advice right now. Don't befriend people on YouTube. Don't befriend people on Twitter and on Facebook. If they are not your real true friends that you've known for a long period of time, don't befriend these people. Okay, you can share some information and share some pictures and some videos and do what you want to do, but never give these people any of your personal information, because as you will clearly see upcoming, they will use it against you. But I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here, and we're going to dip right over to the article that I have just posted about 30 minutes ago on the Planet X News website. And the name of the article is JTRIG, the British Army's Secret Information Warfare Machine. And ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you hear me joking about, these little disinformation trolls all sitting in this dark office with, multiple computers and Yeah, man, they want to be out there in the field doing their like real-time spy game stuff, but they've been assigned to a desk and social media. But it is what it is. Now, I'm not going to go over this entire article because it is absolutely, really, really long. But what I want to do is I want to get down to this part. They call the JTRIG and the GCHQ. The Brits refer to it as the 77th. So you'll see right here, it starts to refer to them as the 77th. I'm going to read a little bit here for you. It says that the 77th does not do these kinds of operations themselves anymore. And what they're referring to is this counterintelligence with social media. Okay, the JTRIG used to do it themselves. Okay, they used to train British soldiers who had higher intelligence levels. And instead of putting them out in the field, they literally trained them to be online trolls. I mean, what a waste of taxpayer dollars, right? So it says that that they use trained contractors, aka known as trolls. GCHQ, for instance, also has a unit dedicated to fighting wars with information. It's called the Joint Threat Research Intelligence Group, JTRIG. Okay, now this is the group of social media trolls and disinformation agents, and they also like to be called debunkers. Okay, they try to debunk every little thing you say, every video you put out. My God, if they listen, they even try to tell everybody that Dr. Albers was impersonating herself. Oh my God. How do you impersonate yourself? And they were all over the internet, all over YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, creating blogs, even creating websites stating that she was impersonating herself. How ridiculous, but it is something that actually did happen. I needed a little shot of my Red Bull. Anyways, let's get back to this. Now, these individuals, they are assigned to specific targets on social media accounts like Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. The JTRIG targets anyone trying to expose specific subjects now, like NASA, the ESA, which is the European Space Agency, space programs, and the existence of alien life, solar system intruders, such as rogue planets or star systems. That's the first time I've heard that terminology, solar system intruders. Interesting. Their main goal is to discredit any information, videos, social media posts, and websites related to these topics. They are generously funded by black budgets, and they recruit individuals who are intelligent and have knowledge of these subject matters. So basically what that's saying is you're not going to go out there and recruit some guy who's an automotive mechanic to go online and become an astronomy or solar system debunker. Okay, kind of like, apples and oranges. So they target individuals to recruit. Now, folks, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA here in the United States, listen, man, they target recruits while they're in high school and in college. Okay? So, yeah, they're out there recruiting these people. Getting back to the article, it states that their main goal is to discredit any information, videos, social media posts, and websites related to these topics. Again, they are generously funded by black budgets. Okay? So it's kind of hard to, trace this money. Now, since they do target people who have these areas of intelligence on some of these subject matters, they recruit them into the JTRIG, and immediately the brainwashing begins by informing these recruits or these trolls that they are doing their country a service and that the government cannot take part in any of this, and their employment is now considered top secret, like Inspector Gadget. Oh, this is a good one here. They are funded through PayPal accounts and debit cards issued from fake accounts. They sign NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, specifying if they reveal their connection with JTRIG, incarceration will be their fate. They are supplied with special laptop computers that are strictly monitored by the JTRIG at all times. These individuals also are part of teams, sometimes consisting of 5 to 10 other troll babies. They are also assigned up to 20 fake social media accounts in order to overwhelm the comment sections under your videos and your posts. And folks, we see that all the time. So they may fool some other people, but they've never fooled me at all. Their training consists of a handbook, and that's the handbook that I was telling you that I divulged all of that information back in 2016, and yeah, it got me in a world of trouble, but I don't care. That handbook, within that book, there were instructions and techniques to discredit so-called conspiracy theorists. The recruits are also supplied with extensive background information on their targets, such as criminal backgrounds, employment, schooling, relationships, and your family members. The recruits, who are the trolls, the troll babies, are first told to befriend the target, meaning I'll be the target. So befriend the target by liking and sharing and commenting and admiring their videos and their posts. They are then able to gather more information to develop better target profiles in order to begin the online harassment and spread the disinformation by engaging subscribers and or followers. The main goal is to create doubt in their minds so they stop watching and listening to the conspiracies, even if solid and profound evidence is shown. Just like you see on Planet X News and Dr. Albers' YouTube channel. There are several countries that fund these operations: the UK, the US, New Zealand, Australia, Germany, Canada, Israel, and France are the main players. But ladies and gentlemen, it is pretty cut and dry that in today's age, Disinformation is warfare. Okay? Plain and simple. We are in an information battle. Now, once again, all of this information came about when NSA whistleblower Edward Snowden revealed all of these documents and all of this information back in 2013. And guess what? I have it all. I have every bit of it. The majority of it I've been sitting on since 2016. You know, I was, at some points in time, I was worried about the safety of my 2 kids. I was worried about the safety of my family, you know, and myself. But JTRIG and GCHQ, these are real organizations, folks. They don't want you to know the truth. They will even put up YouTube channels, Facebook accounts, and show you pictures and videos, and just to make things look so completely unbelievable. So you change your mind. They make a mockery of these topics. So as they're making a mockery of these topics, then you start to think, oh, well, you know, oh, look at that, man. That looks fake as hell. Yeah, maybe there's not much to this whole Planet X thing. Yeah, maybe I'm not going to follow this guy anymore. I'm not going to pay any attention to this stuff anymore. I'm going to go back to sleep. But see, folks, that's the wrong thing to do. What you need to do is not pay attention to any of that nonsense. Pay attention to what you want to. You still have somewhat free will. Okay? And I do believe that all of you are very intelligent people, and you can discern what is real and what is fake. And one of the telltale signs of their comments that they use is just this. That's a lens flare. That's fake. Wow. You think these people could have thought of something a little bit better? But if you go to Dr. Albers' YouTube channel and you read some of the troll comments, listen, they are actually getting educated comments from the trolls because they know better. And Dr. Albers answers the educated troll comments and blows them away. They don't know what to say. They actually have to go back to their superiors and say, hey, listen, you know, she answered this question. The fact of the matter is, these organizations are out to get all of us. Secret intelligence, the war on information. Hell, why do you think Alex Jones, you know, called his program and his website InfoWars? Because it is just that. A war on information. A war on information. I am going to pan down here. This is how long this information is, folks. And whenever you have some time, go ahead and read all of this. Just read it all. You know, China and Russia, they're also involved. But they are not involved with the British government's JTRIG. They have their own organizations. China is huge in the disinformation campaign. Wow, man. They employ thousands of people to sit there on social media and create disinformation. It's a fact, absolute fact. You can read about it. Here's a little secret video, and this goes back to, I believe, 2013, when people started to listen to what Edward Snowden was saying and the information he was leaking out. Now, this video was done kind of, in secrecy. They're using one of these voice modifiers to disguise their voice in the video. But I want you to listen to it, okay? I'll play this, and then we are going to listen to a full-scale report on JTRIG from RT. So check this out. Let's listen.
Through the JTRIG program, under the direction of the GCHQ, individuals on social media websites, especially YouTube, are being subjugated by a technique that involves the use of multiple agents. If you are being targeted, then chances are, you aren't aware of it because the program is designed to undermine you and your voice. The very things that interest you, like activism against government, means that you are surrounded by these agents by default. For example, if Clown A attacks Clown B, then Clown B is an agent, pretending to be a person of similar interest as you, whereas Clown A is someone pretending to be the voice of reason. This is effectively done in order to build a straw man, number one, and number two, to drown you out by making you sound as crazy as Clown B. However, just because you are surrounded by clowns of all types, doesn't make you a clown yourself. In order to identify these people, keep a close eye on yourself. What do you believe? Are you extremely skeptical of everything? Are you rational yet skeptical, but not overtly paranoid? Whichever side you lean more towards, chances are, an agent from either Group A or Group B will try and reach out to you, to befriend you, gain your confidence, and use you for whatever purposes set forth for you specifically. By mid-2013, clowns from Group A started to solely target just the clowns from Group B. If you have been on YouTube or really any social media site for at least 3 years before 2013, you may have noticed that you were targeted by Group A, trolled, harassed and possibly bullied. When the JTRIG program went into full implementation by 2013, that changed. The way they target you now is by having someone from your corresponding group buddy up with you, try to get close to you, while the strawmen just attack the other strawmen from the other group. To clear up confusion, this isn't about telling you what to believe, rather, this is about keeping tabs on people, spreading information to people that would otherwise be deemed unsuitable for reasons that are known only to the powers that be themselves. For instance, topics such as the Constitutional Republic of the United States, the Federal Reserve, the Zionist influence on American politics, 9/11, etc. There are several points an individual must meet in order to be deemed a threat. These include convictions, number 1, reach, number 2, influence, number 3, your voice and knowing how to carry it, number 4, and number 5, your drive. These factors, when combined, will usually red flag you by the NSA and other intelligence agencies just because of the very things you take an interest in, because of your penchant for using Google to search such key terms. The NSA will, for example, place a fingerprint on your ISP if you visit web forums such as the Forum for Linux, because they have a vested interest in knowing who is hating on the Windows operating system. Windows, Google, and Microsoft would be nothing without you, and, to them, you are everything. Several individuals like myself have been in personal contact with people who are the real voices, that is, people whom the government deems a threat, and by working backwards, we've figured these were the individuals who needed to be made aware of what's going on around them. If anyone you know has reduced the frequency of their social media use, it's because we are in contact with them, and have instructed them to do so. There is a very great awakening coming very, very soon, and I hope you take these words to heart. I am Dataclysm. There is no truth higher than data itself.
Okay, folks, I know a lot of you, hate the computer voice, but like I said in the beginning, they were trying to, and probably have to, disguise their voice. This goes back to 2013. This is right after Edward Snowden released all of this information and blew the whistle. So, naturally, I wouldn't want my voice out there making these statements because, well, hell, they want Edward Snowden's head on a platter. There is another video article, and this one's not in a computer voice. And this was an ongoing investigative report by RT. And the title of the video article is How the Government Manipulates Your Thoughts Online. Big Brother. So kick back, and for the next 5 minutes and 22 seconds, listen to this report. It is very eye-opening, and it has everything to do with what I discussed with all of you. Let's listen.
If you're a regular internet user, you've probably perused a message board or comment section of a website and wondered why so many people write inflammatory, horrible, and downright insane diatribes. After all, in real life, most people don't communicate with each other through racist, homophobic, and nasty insults. So is it merely anonymity leading to this type of vitriol on the internet, or is something else at play? Well, thanks to a newly released Edward Snowden document by journalist Glenn Greenwald, we now know some of these comments probably aren't coming from members of the general public at all. In an article titled, How Covert Agents Infiltrate the Internet to Manipulate, Deceive, and Destroy Reputations, Greenwald outlines how intelligence agencies use online troll tactics to influence real-world outcomes. The documents were obtained by Greenwald from the UK's NSA counterpart, GCHQ, and its uber-secretive Joint Threat Research Intelligence Group unit, or JTRIG. See, JTRIG's mission is to destroy the reputation of specific targets by both releasing false and damning information about them and manipulating cyber conversations to affect public perception. And this program goes way beyond just posting nasty comments, guys. According to the top secret slides, which were shared with intelligence agencies in the US, Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, JTRIG employs tactics such as honey trapping, where online affairs are created for blackmail purposes, changing the target's photos on social networking sites, writing blogs pretending to be a victim of the target, and even emailing and texting incriminatory messages to the target's friends and colleagues. But JTRIG doesn't just stop at sabotaging specific individuals online. The unit also employs tactics for taking down entire companies. These tactics include leaking confidential business information to other corporations or the press, posting negative information on online forums, and getting involved in business deals to ruin relationships. And just in case JTRIG's agents are still confused about what their mission exactly is, another site explicitly states that the whole purpose of the program is, quote, using online techniques to make something happen in the real or cyber world. All of this is summed up in the catchy slogan of the 4 Ds: deny, disrupt, degrade, and deceive. How cute. This type of behavior by intelligence agencies has been long suspected by some journalists and technophiles, but as usual, those concerns were generally dismissed as conspiracy theory nonsense. But in reality, the signs were everywhere. As Greenwald points out, as far back as 2008, Cass Sunstein, Obama's advisor and former head of the Office of Information and Regulatory Affairs, proposed the U.S. government use independent advocates to, quote, cognitively infiltrate online groups, websites, and activist groups. He even suggested agents go into chat rooms and social networks to spread false and destructive government conspiracies. Well, it just so happens the very same Cass Sunstein was recently appointed to the White House's NSA review panel. You know, the one proposed to token NSA reforms that were almost entirely ignored by Obama. Not to mention that in 2011, the U.S. military admitted to having developed software that allows one individual to control up to 10 separate online fake personalities, also called sock puppets. And when it comes to these type of tactics, other countries haven't even been secretive about their intentions to manipulate cyber information. According to Electronic Intifada, in 2012, the National Union of Israeli Studies partnered with Israel's government to offer students $2,000 to spread state propaganda on online social websites like Facebook. According to the documents obtained by the website, the program is an opportunity for Israeli students to, quote, provide Hasbara, the Hebrew word for state propaganda, that is correct and balanced to help in the struggle against the delegitimization of the state of Israel and a hatred of Jews in the world. Yes, because paying naive students to promote your official government message is a healthy part of any open society. But I will admit that there's another side of the coin which I recently experienced firsthand after talking about countries and corporate powers that profited from Nazi Germany and the Holocaust. The racist, anti-Semitic, and neo-Nazi comments flooded my YouTube and social media sites in uniform, honestly making me wonder if the effort was part of a larger coordinated campaign to discredit this show. And unfortunately, it's not just countries that are responsible for contributing to the growth of toxic online dialogue. It's corporations, too. As revealed in Breaking the Set by investigative journalist Dar Jamel, BP used PR firm Ogilvy and Mather to hire online trolls to attack and bully individuals who complain about the company's response to the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. And we'd have to be naive to think that most multinational corporations aren't copying this exact technique of controlling their online image. After all, that's just 21st century PR. So, for every Machiavellian narcissist acting alone to dumb down and distort information, you might as well hunker down in your troll cave and get on the government and corporate payroll.
So what do you think about that, ladies and gentlemen? Well, well, well. Let me just go ahead and jump all the way back up here. Let's get out of Planet X News. And again, if all of you just go to Google or whatever search engine that you use, type in the initials JTRIG, and here you can find article after article after article after article and video after video after video about exposing this unit, JTRIG. And again, if you just look right over here, Joint Threat Research Intelligence Group, and it gives you all of their information now. Same thing over here. Go and Google GCHQ, and now they have a public website. But take my advice. Don't click on that website, okay? Do not click on that website because that will send them all of your information, your IP address. They will be able to just basically, know everything there is to know about you. And then they'll be wondering why you're clicking on their website. So they'll probably start to investigate you. But going back to what this reporter was talking about, as you saw and heard after she did some reporting on some certain subjects, she was trolled. Okay, a lot of the trolling mechanisms are programs now that are bots. And these bots can actually go into comment sections. The minute you upload a video to YouTube, the bot can actually start to make comments like they are a real human being. But then you'll see that if you kind of ask that bot questions or reply, they don't answer. Okay. Now, all of that, they did all of that to me back in 2016 and 2017. And they have been after me for all of these years. And they kind of know now that they're not going to get to me. Okay. So all of their little trolling operations have kind of, slowed down quite a bit. But they still mess with me a little bit. No, they still mess with Dr. Albers quite a bit. And, in the course of a week, oh my, I get all kinds of threatening emails, threatening messages in my Planet X News Facebook inbox. I don't bother with them. Do you think I should go to the police department with them? No, I'm not going to bother. They actually have real crime to fight, and frankly, they're not going to do anything about it anyways. Okay, but check this out. And let me go ahead and expand this screen a little bit. And this is part of what Edward Snowden actually released on JTRIG. And this is like part of their handbook, man. I mean, this damn document goes into some pretty sophisticated stuff that these jerk-offs are doing. This even goes down to data mining. I mean, absolutely incredible. And these are software programs that they have developed. And I want to move down. They give them all kind of weird names: Poison Arrow, Spice Island, Fruit Bowl, and it tells you exactly what these are. JTRIG infrastructure team. I mean, these people are pretty damn sophisticated. I want to get down to this one part that talks about Facebook. Here we go, right here. Automated posting of Twitter updates. So again, they have hundreds and hundreds and thousands of fake accounts, and they're all programmed to conduct fake updates. And it goes on and on and on. Let me get down to, here we go, right here. It's called The Godfather. Okay, fully operational public data collection from Facebook accounts. Here's another one up here. Technique of getting at target's IP address by pretending to be a spammer. Yeah, I mean, this is just ridiculous. So the threat to information, it's global now, man. I mean, they have gotten very, very sophisticated. If any of you use Skype, I would delete Skype from your computer and your cell phone, and I would never, ever, ever use Skype again. I made this mistake back in early 2017, and I'll never make that mistake again. Something else that occurred to me back in October of 2016, when I was continuing to release this information that was given to me by the New York Times investigative reporter. I came home one day. I went just to Walmart to do some grocery shopping, and I came home and I went to turn on my flat screen TV and start watching some news. And I went to turn on my computers, and everything was destroyed. Somehow, some way, they destroyed every single electronic device in my house. My TV was now nothing but junk plastic. My computers were completely fried. Junk. All of my files, all of the photographs, all of the videos, everything that I had in my computer was gone. It was junk, unrepairable. Then shortly after that, 2 weeks later, as I was on a phone call with somebody discussing, Planet X information and so on and so forth, and what we were finding, in mid-call, My cell phone, which was brand new at the time, started heating up. And then all of a sudden, I heard a very loud, high-pitched noise in the earpiece, and the phone went blank. I thought the battery had died. So I took the phone back in the house, plugged it in the charger, went back 30 minutes later, tried to turn it on. It would not turn on. So I took it back to my cell phone provider, and I said, hey, listen, I've only had this phone for 3 months. It won't turn on anymore. So I had insurance on the phone. They gave me another new cell phone, and they sent that one back to the manufacturer, who at the time was the company LG. About a week later, I got a phone call from my cell phone service provider, and they said, hey, would you mind stopping up here at our local store? I said, yeah, no problem. I went up and I said, hey, so what's the deal with my phone? Did they ever figure out what happened to it? And they said, well, yeah, it's kind of crazy. We've never seen anything like this happen before, but all of the internal memory of your cell phone was completely wiped out. And I said, oh, really? And they said, yeah, your cell phone is nothing but a worthless piece of plastic. It is nothing but junk. So there you go. There you go. Some of the other information that they have on here, techniques to actively grab IP addresses from MSN Messenger users. Here we go again. Facebook application allowing collection of various information. This just goes on and on and on, folks. This is a very, very long document, and some of the information has been redacted over here. But, I actually have many more files pertaining to what I'm discussing with all of you now. I could make them available, but I'll be quite honest with you. I don't think any of you should have any of this stuff in your computers. It's kind of just better to be on the safe side, But it goes on and on, folks. It goes on and on. And I would say in the course of the last 5 years, they have actually gotten much, much better with their technology. There is absolutely no doubt about that. And I'm going to go ahead and dip over to here. And I was kind of bugging around through my email, and this is a couple of days ago. And I get a lot of emails. I get a lot of emails from people from all over the world. And I know I have viewers out there that watch these videos and they don't comment at all. Not in the comment section, not in the live streams. But they send emails. And over the years, I've gotten pretty damn good at being able to distinguish if somebody's blowing smoke up my ass or somebody's being truthful. And this email that I got a few days ago was kind of like a coded message. And it was mentioning Magellan. And it was also mentioning some other observatories in the country of Chile. And it was also mentioning 5 universities here in the United States that are working on a joint project, and it involves a very, very highly sophisticated, massive ground-based telescope. with 8 gigantic mirrors. And then I come to find out that this brand new observatory, which is not finished yet, it's still under construction, it's called Magellan. The individual stated that he worked at an observatory near Magellan. I had absolutely no idea that this massive Magellan telescope was being built. I've never even heard of it. I don't know if any of you have heard about it. But he stated that he no longer works at this one location. He really didn't specify. But I can tell by the broken English that he was not American, possibly Chilean. I don't know. I don't know. The email address it came from a cell phone. So it was kind of one of those email addresses. It's like all numbers, and it had a question mark at the end of it, and it had several photographs attached to it. And, well, the photograph that you're looking at right here, I don't know anything historically about it. I don't know exactly where it came from, but it went into detail talking about how myself and Dr. Albers and Jeff P. reference this sun simulator all the time. And the email went on to specify that the technologies are far more advanced than what we know. And I guess the person has been watching a lot of my information and Jeff P's information and Dr. Albers' articles for quite some time, because they referenced back to videos that I did in 2016. They referenced videos that Jeff P did in 2017 and also in 2018. They also referenced the book that Dr. Albers and I wrote on the sun simulator and the photographic evidence that we supplied in that book. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, that's probably what prompted the FBI to come to my residence on June 1st of this year and basically, well, I don't want to call it a threat. You know, they basically told Dr. Albers and I to stop writing books and get off of YouTube. Find something else to do. You're really pissing people off at NASA and the ESA. Well, as you can see, we didn't pay any attention to that because we've written 3 more books for a total of 9. We're not off of YouTube. And we're still making videos and we're still researching and we are still investigating. But getting back to these photographs, I wasn't given too much information on the actual photograph itself, other than it's saying that what you're seeing in these photographs is not the sun. And it referred to it as the Sol, S-O-L. And Sol is Spanish for sun. And it just so happens that some of these top observatories are in the country of Chile, high atop some of these mountains. And, you know, I've done a little bit of homework and I've been looking around and I wasn't too sure about this Magellan factor. And I started to look into it. But anyways, the photographs that were sent, that one, well, one thing I want to point out to this photograph is, yeah, you can see this big spotlight right here. And then we can see this other sphere here. And we can see the perfect shadow on this side that is away from the illuminated object here, which I guess maybe he was referencing that this is the sun simulator. And you can see this object is illuminated on this side facing the light source. So to me, that's pretty credible. It's accurate. So let's go to the next photograph that was included. This one, it just looks like it's a little bit of a contrast change. I haven't done anything to these photographs at all. So we've all seen photographs taken of the sun. Now, I don't know how they obtained these photographs, whether these were taken with an observatory style telescope using, in-house camera systems that are attached to these massive telescopes. I don't know, but I wanted to share it with you. And that sure as hell doesn't look like a real sun, but that sure as hell looks like a real sphere. And we could move into it a little bit further. This is about as far as I can get. And yeah, whatever the hell it is, it seems to have some very, very thin blue stripes along the side. I don't know if you guys can see them in the actual video live stream, but I can see them pretty good. And when you pan back, again, you can see the light source here and the viable light source here, and that's a direct connection. So, and there was one more picture that was included, and I thought this one was kind of wild looking. And this one, let's zoom in a little bit. Now we could actually see a little bit of this blue right here. Wow. And we can see the illumination on this object. So once I started looking at this object right here, forget about the sun simulator or whatever the hell is over here, because it sure as hell doesn't look like the sun at all. When I started looking at this monster over here, boy, oh boy, it really starts to look like the massive blue object that was photographed back in 2017, the day after, I believe, or no, a couple days before Mother's Day. Once in the beginning of May, and then again, I think 7 to 10 days later. So pay very close attention to what this object looks like and the coloring. You see this yellowish green. You see this blue striping here. Let me show you something now. So I'm really starting to wonder what's up. We're going to go over here to the Planet X files. Let's pan all the way down here for a second. And, let this all load. I've got so much data in this computer, even though it's a workhorse. I have to wait till this loads all the way. So here we go. So the photograph that was just sent to me and the photograph that I just showed you guys with that same type of coloring. Wow. Look at what we got here. It's almost identical. Almost identical. This photograph, same thing. This is a high definition observatory photograph. This wasn't taken from, someone's cell phone. It sure as hell wasn't taken with no P900 camcorder. Okay. Let's jump out of here. And where is the other photograph? Get a little closer here. So those colors that are on that previous photograph that just came in, boy, they're a dead match. They are a dead match for what we're seeing right here. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in down here because we could actually see some of the structure on this object. You can see the ridges on it. And you could see some, I guess it would be debris scattering off of it. As Dr. Albers has stated many, many times, these objects tend to lose some surface material when they get close to the sun. Therefore, if any of you are questioning the amount of debris that we see around the sun and possibly the influx of asteroids, near-Earth objects, meteors, things of that nature, all of these factors may be coming into play. Okay, so I wanted to share that with all of you because I found those 3 photographs to be very suspicious in nature, and the story, it definitely didn't seem like it was made up. That's for sure. I get a lot of emails and people wanting me to take a look at photographs. And, I would have to say over all of these years and taking thousands of photographs myself, I don't want to use the word professional, but, I definitely know what I'm looking at. I definitely know the difference between a lens flare, a ghosted image, things of that nature. And there's just no way in hell that the photographs that I opened up in that email were anything other than a sphere. And then the referencing to the sun simulator really has me thinking. And it just goes to show you that there are people out there that are watching. There are professionals. Like, for instance, astronomers. People always say, one of the biggest troll comments, well, with all of the astronomers all over the world, how come they don't see it? Well, out of all of the astronomers all over the world, they don't have access to these massive observatory-style telescopes. And if they did, and they found something like this lurking near the sun, you can guarantee that they would be silenced immediately. And you can guarantee that the information that they recorded would not leave that observatory unless they snuck the information out. So, once again, I think we have more credible information on what's lurking out there near our sun. Is it destroying our sun? Folks, maybe destroying our sun is a harsh word. It is definitely affecting our sun. It is definitely interacting with our sun. A lot of people kind of don't understand the power and the force of the sun's magnetic field. The same thing applies to planet Jupiter. Planet Jupiter, Jupiter's magnetic field is intense. It is the strongest in our solar system after the sun. And now Jupiter has once again, it's capturing all of these other planetary bodies, what they now refer to as simply moons. But they're big enough to be seen from Earth with telescopes. So, wow, Jupiter goes from 50 moons to 60 moons to 70 to 78, all within a matter of a few years. But the important question is, where in the hell did those other objects come from? Were they part of the Planet X system as this system moved into our solar system? Did Jupiter capture some of these smaller objects with its gravitational pull, with its magnetic field? Why isn't mainstream astronomy talking about that every single day? Why are they so tuned in on what is 50 light years away when we don't even know everything about our own solar system, let alone our own planet and our own moon? You see my point? It's not that it's disinformation. It's no information. None. Zero. Zilch. And then, I'm reading and contemplating this new space probe that they're going to be landing on Mars. I watched the entire live stream that the JPL did the other day with all of their engineers and their scientists who built the probe, and they are in charge of landing it on Mars. It's not going to be like the Curiosity where it rolls around and drives around. This is a stationary probe that will land on Mars. It will be stationary. It has a robotic arm, which has a super high definition camera on the end of it. And it has instruments on its little platform. And the robotic arm is going to pick these instruments up and put them onto the surface. And they are seismic instruments. And they want to monitor the seismic activity on Mars and a few other things. And then during this live stream from the JPL, they were talking about how they monitor the weather on Mars every single day. Mars has weather, just like we have weather here on Earth, but quite different. Has seismic activity, just like we have here on Earth, but it's totally different. Earth's crust is floating on the mantle, whereas the crust of Mars is not. So when they have volcanic eruptions, they don't form islands like Hawaii. You would actually have to watch the live stream. They did quite a bit with illustrations, but it was very interesting. But the one lady who is in charge of the program, or one part of the program, and I have a piece of video from it. And I want to let me pull it up here, folks, because this is important. This is I think this is very important. Let me see if I have it here. I didn't even check. I meant to record it, and I hope that I did. Oh, don't tell me that I didn't. Oh, damn. I don't think that it took. But anyways, what she said, let's go over here real quick. Let's jump into YouTube. Oh, here it was right there. What this lady said is that they want to be able to return humans to Mars. You get what I'm saying? She said that they want to return humans to Mars. Well, I think she either misspoke. Let me see if this is it. I got to get to it here, because it was towards the end. Let me see if this is it.
Science about the deep interior of Mars. We're actually going to be completely than that, and it does take pictures, and you will definitely be able to see them.
They're talking about
two cameras on
new
board.
Mars
we have,
lander.
One's called our instrument context camera, and that's going to take a picture just a few minutes after landing, and it's bolted.
Follows up, don't we need 2 or 3?
One of the things we do on Mars, what we call arrival, will be available.
Trying to get to the part where
or something complete.
Work together with different culture, different languages.
I think it's right here.
Quake motion of the planet, and it
actually covered about a quarter of Hawaii. So Hawaii is, plume comes up and hits the surface.
Where is it? Hold on. Bear with me, folks. This was like almost 2 hours
long. The thing that we're really looking forward to for InSight is being able to go back in time.
Where is this
Mars
lady?
formed these volcanoes in its first. So the best enough to be able to climb out.
Penetrates down into below the surface figure out.
In the planet, volcanoes, we have a series of volcanoes, and you can see this complex of
volcanoes
that was formed above the mantle plume early in Mars's history.
But its environment on the surface is, more Earth-like than, for instance,
place where it was about 1,000 kilometers to an area that may have been volcanically active in the last, 10 million years. So,
and of course, trying to understand how life is
or
was distributed across our solar system is one.
Okay, folks, I want you to pay very, very close attention to what this lady is saying. Okay, she starts referencing that one of the main goals of her team is to, they want to investigate how life formed. They know that possibly there was water on Mars. And she's hinting at, they know that there's other life out there. I believe that. But what really blew my mind when I was watching this live stream was when she said, returning humans to Mars. Let's listen. I'm going to turn this up. I hope you guys can all hear it. But let's just pay attention to what she's saying.
One of the major questions that we have, are we alone? Were we alone sometime in the past? And so Mars is really an intriguing destination for that purpose as well, trying to really understand what those conditions were like back 4 billion years ago. Did life actually begin on Mars in that time frame? And if it did, is there any preservation of that left on the surface? Of course, that's not the focus of the InSight mission, but it is the focus of a lot of the other investigations that we're interested in at Mars. And so trying to better understand Mars in that context is important. And then finally, as was alluded to this morning in the mission briefing by Dr. Zabukin, we'd like to eventually get humans back to Mars. We're interested in a campaign now in returning humans to the moon and eventually getting humans to Mars. Again, another destination in our solar system where we...
Did you all just hear what she said? Getting humans back to Mars. Ladies and gentlemen, there was information that came out just a little more than a year ago from David Wilcock and Corey Good referencing the human habitats, Earthlings living in a Mars community on that planet. 250,000 people. And they were all destroyed. They were all killed. And not by other humans, by aliens. A destructive alien force. That's the story Now, this NASA employee from the JPL just told all of you and me and the world that they would like to get humans back to Mars. Well, as far as I know, no human has ever landed on Mars except for possibly the special secret space program. So you heard it. And this is so long, I'd like to hear her say it again.
See our team over here working furiously collecting your questions, so stand by for that. Go ahead with your question.
Hey, Charlie Shelton with CV Weekly. I have a question about the Olympus.
And another destination in our solar system where we feel it is amenable to human exploration and a place where we could go at some point in the future. And science drives our understanding that allows us to get humans to a place like Mars. And so the more exploration we have, the better we understand that environment, the better prepared we'll be to send humans to Mars in the future.
Great. Thanks so much.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to bring it back into the room here for questions from media, and then from social media, I see our team over here working furiously collecting your questions, so stand by for that. Go ahead with your question.
Hey,